And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the grand finals of the PiGosaur Monday number 3. Again, a big shout out to Pig and Stegosaurus for funding this event, and we are here in the grand finals, and we have our two top players spawning in the top right-hand corner of Crimson Court. We have the South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the American Protoss player, the red Protoss, the NA Hope himself. It is Astrea. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It's time to get your gamba going because predictions are now open. Place your bets on who you think will take the series. Best of luck. Best of luck in the chat, as you do have 2 minutes upon hearing this message to get your predictions in while you can. Now we are settling in, and again, this is a rematch. Both Astrea and ByuN, they have faced off in the past in previous Open Cups, and Astrea has caused upsets in the past. He has brought ByuN down, but you know, that was a couple of weeks ago. We are here in the now, and we'll see if Astrea can pull that off again, or if ByuN gets his revenge. Here we go. So for now, we are going to be settling in. So far, so good. Double gas opener out of ByuN, going for a faster factory, going for a delayed TC. Bit of a more tech-heavy start here from our Blue Terran player. This can lead into some Cyclone aggression early on, can lead into a Widowmine drop, into Reactor Reaper Hellion. There's potential. There's potential for aggression. Meanwhile, Astrea back at home, just opening up Gate Expand. Nothing too crazy, nothing too wild. Standard opener from the Protoss. It's going to be that standard opener. And again, really cool to see Pig take part and actually help sponsor this event. You know, for a long time now, for what was it, like 6 or 7 weeks, we've had all the other community members stepping up. Ourselves, Wardy, Steadfast, Rotterdam, Dave and Chicken Man, and now Pig as well, now stepping in. I don't remember really the last time Pig, you know, sponsored an event like this. I'm thinking of like the Pig Steakhouse back in the day, but it's really cool that Pig is also taking part as well. I mean, again, most of the content creators and community members have risen up in some way to provide something for the community when it comes to these open online tournaments. Again, just really cool to see the community come together here for StarCraft 2 in the off-season of ESL to host all these Open Cups. Really cool to see. Inspiring, Bobby, inspiring. And again, when it comes to the off-season, I guess the off-season is coming to an end soon, TM. I feel like the revelation of the new patch is kind of like the first sign of the new season to come. The new patch, the new map pool, it's all kind of on the horizon. Soon, TM. As the Hellion has arrived, will threaten the natural. So far, so good. Astrea, he does respond, does have that shield battery. At the same time, Reapers do dive into the main. There is one Stalker in position, but alas, Astrea, he does overshoot. And mispositioning with the Stalker. Reapers are getting to the middle line. Points are being pulled. And how many probes do we get? One probe goes down. He gets one, he gets two. And he gets three. Not quite. Yeah, 2 probe kills for two Reapers. Not the best trades from ByuN. 2 for 2. And Astrea holds. Astrea does hold, moves out across map for hallucinated scouts. It is going to be a 1-1-1 setup. And it looks like ByuN is opening up Widowmine drop. And of course, Astrea confirms. Astrea does confirm the drop, does follow it, is aware, and should be getting ready. Now, it's not just going to be Widowmines, there are 4 Marines as well. But Stalkers already intercept. Oh my god! Astrea being very proactive. Does deny the drop, denies the scouting. Behind the Astrea, rushing into a fast third Nexus. Oh my god. Here on Crimson Court. So it's going to be 2-gate blink into a third. Bold move. This drop honestly can't really do much about the expansion. Widowmines can't target buildings. Marines can, but again, this force is mainly designed to try to cripple the economy more than anything. Speaking of, does get into the middle line. Boys are being pulled. Oh no! They stack up! Oh my god! My shot doesn't quite connect. My heart backing. I can't. Calm down, Astrea. Calm down. Another Widowmine into the main. It will connect as well. Boys are being pulled away. Getting 2 probe kills so far. 3, 4 probes. And we do see that Astrea can go back to mining. One of the Widowmines does waddle away. Getting out of here. And that wasn't too bad. I mean, ByuN lost 1 Widowmine for 4, soon to be 2 Widowmines for 4 probes. Final Widowmine is hunted down. Now we can settle it. But again, that was almost disastrous. Like with Astrea choosing to attack the Widowmine and not getting it, that was wild. Wasn't quite punished. Hallucination confirms the follow-up. Is going to be a 3-1-1 setup, working towards Stim. No third CC yet, but I'm sure it will be on the horizon for ByuN. As we can settle down. Hi, hi, hi. Kind of settle down. We have our splash damage of choice from Astrea. He could have gone into Colossus, but no, it's going to be a Temple Archives instead, working towards Charge, working towards Storm. So Charge Arc on Storm from Astrea. Stalkers move out, but they won't find much damage here. Force a blink away. They threaten the bases, they're forced out. ByuN is aware of the Stalker's location, so he's going for a drop towards the left-hand side, towards the third base of Astrea. Is just going to be a singular drop of Marines. But he can still wreak havoc in that mineral line. Astrea, he missed the move out, he missed the medevac. Will be warping in some High Templar to defend. Does have a spotter pylon as well. Oh, Observer goes down. Nice pickup. And the drop is spotted. Astrea, he has to respond. He's got 2 Zealots to defend. The Stalkers, they race back home. At the same time, ByuN breaks out. And Astrea, he does not spot the move out. He's not aware. He lost the Observer. And he's forced out of position. So this drop is actually achieving quite a lot here for ByuN. It's just distracting Astrea. He's forced to respond. ByuN pushing towards the natural. Storm is not done. ByuN is pushing in. Catching a free Stalker. Not bad. Gets a Stalker. Sieges up. Threatens the natural. Forces the overcharge. Marshall goes up. Massive tank volley as well. Gets High Templar. 1 High Templar left. Still no Storm. Zealots, they collapse in from behind. Decent feedbacks. And does Astrea have enough? It looks like he does not. And there's too much support. The tanks, they're in a brutal position. They take down the pylon. And they can depower the rover. GG gets called. And ByuN will take game number 1. GG. Get a brutal move out. As a reminder, Astrea, he was in position to scout, but the Observer got sniped. The Stalkers forced out of position, and Astrea, he had no idea that the army was moving out. As a result, by the time he realized what was going on, ByuN, he was sieged up at the natural within range of the Artosis pylon as well. Just a brutal position, and ByuN takes the win. Does take the first game, but now we are jumping into game number 2. We'll see if Astrea can bounce back. We shall see. As game 2 is going to be on site Delta. Here we go. So again, just really intense play out of ByuN. No holding back. But it was also a really awkward map as well. Like, the third base is more exposed, or I should say it's more isolated. So it's a little bit more difficult to defend, you know, your third base or your natural, especially if you don't know where the army is coming. Now instead we're going to be loading into Site Delta, a much more larger macro standard map in the map pool. And we'll see how our players adjust. We've seen ByuN very often open up more economically here on Site Delta. Not just Racks Expand, but even 3cc 3 Racks. He's very fond of it. We'll see if he embraces it once again. As spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have our South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran for Shopify. It is ByuN. Leading the series 1-0, and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the American Protoss player. He might be down in the series, but it's a best of 5. Plenty more games to come. It is Astrea. We go. Again, we've seen time and time again ByuN be quite greedy on Site Delta, skipping SCV scouts, going for faster CCs, faster third base as well. So I'm curious if he embraces a greedy style once again, or if he does mix things up and go for a different approach. So now Astrea is going for the probe scout. So far so good. No proxy from either player. No wild starts. Only 1 gas geyser here for ByuN. So he is going for more economic start. If you recall, last game it was double gas, and that led into a faster Widowmine drop. This time, Astrea confirms only one gas. Only one gas, guys, where he confirms there should be a CC on the way. But again, the question becomes just how greedy is ByuN going to be? We know he's going to be economic, but again, that's only the first real step here. As CC is placed on the high ground, a little bit of a safer expansion for ByuN. Is slightly less efficient as it has to be floated down to the low ground, but it will be safer against any kind of Adept or Zealot aggression. And he's going rank expand into a factory. Okay. No third CC. So just a standard economic opener here out of ByuN. Just a little bit safer than normal. For the most part, Astrea has confirmed, and he can calm things down. I do think that Astrea, if he did want to go 2-gate Blink again, I mean, he's a lot more free to do so. There's not really much pressuring him early on. We'll move out. Twilight Council has been placed. It is not uncommon on some of these larger maps to see Stargate play, Stargate Phoenix. But Astrea doesn't often open Stargate, actually, in this matchup. It's more about that Blink. It is going to be another Blink-based opener. Dead moves out. Does confirm the expansion. And the question becomes, how many gateways? Remember, last game it was 2-gate Blink into a third. Astrea, he could go for a third gateway, could go for a fourth gateway and be hyper-aggressive. He has options. ByuN setting up, being very safe. But the reason for this, I mentioned before, especially on larger maps like this, ByuN did not SCV scout, so he actually doesn't know what's going on. For all ByuN knows, it could be an Oracle opener, it could be a Phoenix opener, so he does open up Cyclone. Very safe way to follow this up here. Cyclones, they shoot up, they shoot down, they can keep you safe, and he's following this up with some drop play. So just a very, very well-rounded setup here by ByuN. Doesn't quite get the Adepts, but at least Astrea is aware of the Cyclones. And here comes the move out. We have Marines in the medevacs and 2 Cyclones on the ground. Now Astrea does not have a shield battery at the natural, only Stalkers. Oh. As the drop is coming in, Astrea does confirm, but he wants the Cyclones. And he will get them. Gets one. Marines are pushing in, they don't have stim, bear that in mind. Going for the Stalkers. Bit of an awkward engage. ByuN coming in from behind. Gets a Stalker. Gets 2. But Astrea will get the Cyclone. Just a very awkward fight. Astrea will hold and will not lose any workers, any economy. Astrea defends. Astrea does defend. You can see ByuN attempting a drop into the main, but there is an army in position. Did recall back home. And Astrea freely takes his third. Again, a pretty tense moment there for Astrea, but he holds on. She'll sound the drop. It was a 3-gate Blink. So now that means Astrea can counterattack. He has extra Stalkers, extra Warpins, had the Robo first into War Prism. And now it's going to be ByuN that has to defend. And what does he have to defend back at home? He has a bunker at the natural. He has a 1 tank in the main. But the production is quite exposed. Astrea has potential. Moving out. Again, he can warp in at 3 Stalkers at a time. Stim is looking very exposed. And Astrea can't deny it. ByuN sees the Stalkers. Can't really do much about it. Stim is denied. Marines, they try to engage, but they have vanilla Marines. And the tanks are just a little bit too far out of range. Second tank has arrived. And ByuN holds. ByuN does hold. I mean, the denied stim is going to keep ByuN pinned back at home for that much longer. So Astrea, he'd be greedy behind this. He can tech up. He can saturate his third base, tech up into a splash damage. Astrea should be safe. And there it is. Phase on the way. Last game, if you remember, Astrea, he was trying to go into Storm. This time, Colossus. Ooh, as he even catches the Raven. Very nice pickup. Raven goes out for 2 probes, not worth it for ByuN. But Astrea going for his bait. Colossus production, Forger +1, charge as well, containing his opponent. And again, ByuN cannot break out. Not without Stim. You can see Astrea just bullying those Marines. Has to be careful, has to respect them. Dropping into the main. Gets 1 SCV, denies mining time. Barely getting a second worker. Not losing a single stalker. Very nice control here out of Astrea. Getting fully saturated. And you can see how quickly things can shift here once Astrea gets map control. Once he's in the driver's seat. Oh my god. Casito. Drops are denied. Thankfully, ByuN doesn't commit. Doesn't lose too much. Astrea, he's all over this. Containing ByuN. Colossus production has begun. Getting a 4th base as well. And finally, Stim is completing. Finally, ByuN can break out of this contain and take his own 3rd base, or go into a 2-base all-in. But yeah, 3rd CC is already done. ByuN will expand. So ByuN can finally take his 3rd. And we can embrace the mid-game. I do favor Astrea getting into this. Again, he did have a much stronger start. He gained a lot of map control. He punished ByuN. So Astrea does have a lead. Not saying that ByuN can't bounce back. Of course he can. He can take better fights. Catch Astrea off guard. But the pressure is on ByuN at the moment. There's a lot of pressure on ByuN to get across the map with drops, or catch out the stalkers. Main army is spotted. Astrea is aware. Saves the observer. At the same time, Astrea getting poised to dive into the natural. There is a turret in position. Behind Astrea, he dives in, but there are reinforcements. Yeah, this plays to defend. Zealots are going to be cleaned up. Zealots hit the natural. They force some friendly fire. 6 SCVs. Not bad. 6 SCV kills and the Prism does survive. Forced to recall. And again, this is just keeping ByuN busy back at home while Astrea is stabilizing and getting into his 4th. And now a 5th base as well. A little bit greedy, is what I will say. A little bit greedy here by Astrea, but I mean, at the moment, he is safe to do so. Getting a 5th, 3rd Colossus. Prism is spotted. Astrea moving out. Astrea, he's about to max. Bear that in mind as well. Now, what I will say, Astrea doesn't have to push in. He doesn't have to try to break the 3rd base. Remember, Astrea, he's on 5 bases. All Astrea needs to do is deny the 4th. Deny the 4th base and wait for ByuN to move out. And move out into the open where Astrea can take a better fight. Speaking of a 4th base, there it is. ByuN, he's going for his 4th. And this is where ByuN is going to be at his most vulnerable. While he tries to expand. Astrea is maxed. He has a massive Zealot-based army. Disruptor production has begun. I believe still only 1 robo, which is a little bit concerning. You can see Astrea, he has no gases. No gases at the 3rd, or the 4th, or the 5th. It's just purely minerals, purely Zealot. That's why Astrea can't really afford a 2nd robo yet. But again, he's trying to set up the surround, luring out the army. Here he goes for the dive. Nova goes up. Ooh, big connection on the Marauders. First Colossus does fall, but the tanks are exposed. And Zelsa collapse on the tanks. Not the cleanest engage here out of Astrea, does bleed out the Disruptor, but he overwhelms. He overwhelms the army, takes out every single tank, pushes into the mineral line. And it's just a numbers game. ByuN does not have enough. GG gets called, and Astrea ties up the series 1-1. GG. GG, well played. Astrea does tie us up. And again, you can see how differently the game can play out, or I should say how important momentum is. Momentum's so important here in StarCraft. ByuN losing so much of it early on with his failed aggression, I should say. On top of that, because of that, he was punished. Astrea, he was able to deny stim, able to delay it, continue with drop play, and just get further and further ahead. Astrea looking much more dominant in Game 2, showing how things can pan out if the early game is more in his favor. And with that, we're tied up 1-1. We're going to Game 3. We are going to Game 3. The question becomes, is Astrea's early game going to be as strong this time? Again, can he minimize losses? Can he delay ByuN? We'll see. As Game 3 is going to be on post-youth. Reloading into post-youth. Another factor I should say as well is the size of the map. Side Delta is one of the larger maps in the map pool. Because of that, once Astrea got map control, ByuN was stuck at home and he couldn't really apply much pressure. If you remember, he was trying to go for some drop play, but Astrea was all over it. He was able to keep up with the drops as well, contained ByuN very well, very nicely. But now we're getting into Game 3. Here we go. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of post-youth, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran, being forced into a tied-up series. Can he bring it back? For Shopify, it is ByuN. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the American Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing himself. Currently teamless, but deserving to be on a team. Tying up the series, it is Astrea. Now, as a reminder, this is a best of 5, so plenty more games ahead of us. We are tied up, but still more games to come. This could still go either way. But now we're settling in. Again, we're loading into Post-Youth. Post-Youth, one of the more unorthodox maps in the map pool. There is an in-base hybrid base that's available to our players, so that can be quite greedy. We should be seeing a Rax expand here from ByuN. Likewise, there is also the gold, and if a player like Astrea is able to get map control early on, I mean, we saw him be greedy and get up to 5 bases against the 3-base setup of ByuN. If he can get into this gold base, he can also skyrocket ahead. So the gold base is going to be a factor. We'll see if we can get there. So gate expand from Astrea. Economic opener. Meanwhile, this time ByuN does open up Reaper. Interesting. Now, if you remember last game on Side Delta, ByuN was cutting corners, he skipped his SCV scout, and he also skipped his first Reaper as well. So there was no scouting for ByuN. This time, Reaper first. So he's going to be moving out across the map, he's going to be threatening the bases, and trying to get an eye on the initial tech opener of Astrea. And again, Post-Youth has the shortest rush distance, or is the shortest rush distance map in the map pool, so Reaper aggression does make sense early on. And ByuN does move out. He's now moving out across the map. We'll see if Astrea can keep up. Stalker is on the way. And we'll see if ByuN also goes 3 CC. He is building up those resources. He is! Oh my god, a third CC's on the way. Banked up 400 minerals. Very greedy build here by ByuN. And this is what I was expecting on Side Delta. If you remember, I was talking about how ByuN, he very often does go 3cc 3 racks on larger maps. On a smaller map, this is very risky. It's greedy and also quite risky here on Post-Youth. We'll see if Astrea can recognize what's going on. So again, this is third CC before any other tech structure into a 3-rack setup. And the power of this build really kicks in the mid-game. Because of how quickly you get a third base, your worker production and your third base timing is insanely fast, and then you can skyrocket ahead and snowball out of control and be the first to max out. It takes a while for this build to really kind of show its final form. So there is time for Astrea to try to get a read on this and try to punish it or meet greed with greed. Speaking of, hallucinations moving out. So Astrea will soon realize what's going on as he moves out with the hallucination. Behind this, Master Marine is building up. The Reaper is denied. And I believe ByuN, he did get into the main, did get eyes on the Twilight Council. Hallucination gets eyes on the 3rd CC. Now Astrea knows he gets eyes on the 2nd ranks, on Stim, on the ByuN. And Astrea, he even confirms the faster eBay and +1. So it is going to be a Stim and +1 timing here for ByuN. A lot of Marines to work with. Astrea getting his 3rd at a standard timing. But the pressure is on the Protoss. And he gets a Marine, not bad. I mean, every Marine count does count. He gets a 2nd one as well. What I'm referring to, this Stim timing is brutal. But if we can pick away at the army and... never mind, as Astrea does overextend. But if we can thin out the Marine count ahead of time, then suddenly that Stim timing is going to be that much less impactful, that much less threatening. Gets a 3rd Marine. More Stalkers on the way. And this is typically how you want to respond to a 3-Rax. Whether it's a regular 3-Rax or a 3cc 3-Rax, you need to slow down the ByuN army to make sure that the Stim timing doesn't overwhelm you. So Astrea doing well. Getting 3 Marines so far. Ooh, bleeding out a Stalker. Overextends, that wasn't worth it. A more expensive loss there for Astrea. Back at home, taking into his own Robo, into Colossus production. He has the Sentry as well to Force Field to try and slow down the push even further. But it will come down to reaction time, as Stim is now done. ByuN attempting to take his 3rd. Army's getting ready to move out. Astrea does confirm. Does Force Field. Ooh, just barely. Does Force Field the ramp. Takes down the Marines. Gets a Marauder, but will bleed out a Sentry. And a Stalker as well. Not a bad trade for Astrea, but a trade nonetheless. Trying to pick away at the Marines. Ooh, gets 1 more. Gets 2 more. For another Stalker. Ugh, again, not the best trades here for Astrea. And ByuN, he's going for the gold. Ay. Being even greedier than normal. Rushing into the goal base. ByuN breaks out. Astrea, back at home, is trying to set up. Does have his first Colossus. And Astrea, he should be able to survive with this Colossus. But ByuN is getting ahead economically. Taking an economic lead. A double drop into the main. Astrea warping in. Oof, yeah, he gets punished for the dive as well. Another Stalker goes down. ByuN trading so well here. And he's going for a split push as well. And we spoke about it. Now that the 3rd base is up and running, this is where ByuN can really shine. By pulling Astrea apart. Astrea, though, he does have his Colossus split. So far, so good. 1 Colossus at the 3rd, the other at the natural. Astrea, he does hold for the time being. But this is still only the beginning. ByuN has a supply lead, and it's going to get even larger. On top of that, trying to hold on to this goal base, it's going to be ambitious here for Astrea. Yeah, forced to cancel. There's no way he can hold on to it. He cannot fight this, not head on. There are just so many Marauders. They just melt Colossus and Immortals and anything Robo, really. Anything armor-based. Astrea attempting a Zealot run-by. Expansion is denied. These Zealots do have potential, though. They get a handful of SCVs. They force back some of the army. Not bad. 5 SCV kills. Astrea breaks out. On the Widowmite. Gets a Sentry. And massive pickup. Sentry goes down. ByuN going for a 4th on location. But Astrea, he wants that gold. I'm trying to keep up. Viking has arrived. Boys are being pulled. It comes in for the flank. And Astrea doesn't have enough to hold on. ByuN, he sims in. He gets 1 Colossus. Doesn't quite get the other, but he may just have too much anyway. Yeah, too much bio. Too much man with gun. Takes out the final Colossus. But it does cost him 19 SCVs. Oh my god. 19 workers went down. That was a big blow to his economy. But he's still ahead in workers. Like, he still has a better economy with the gold. Astrea is still stuck on 3 bases. Astrea coming in from behind for the surround. Picking up a handful of bio units, but again, it's just not going to be enough. ByuN, he's just trading so well against this. Kai's back against the Zealots. Ooh, forces some friendly fire. Getting in trouble with the Stalkers. The Stalker count getting higher. The Archon tanking some shots. Astrea, he's so committed here. He's basically all in. He has to break this 3rd base. If not, that's going to be game. Getting his gold. Reinforcing. Colossus has arrived. That's a lot of sentries. Colossus takes a lot of hits though. Oh, Colossus goes down. But nice force fields. Astrea still trying to force the issue. But he just doesn't have enough. Yeah, ByuN scanning ahead of time. He sees that there's nothing behind this. He knows he can keep pushing. Astrea desperately trying to hold on. The snipes are going up. The ghost has arrived. And ByuN will overwhelm. Again, just so much greed here by ByuN, and he wasn't quite punished. Did lose 19 SCVs, but that wasn't enough. Goes to show how much of an economic lead ByuN had. Nice concave of Stalkers. EMP is brutal. ByuN is running out of Marauders though. Astrea, he might be able to hold on to this gold. Doesn't need that shield battery. Has a concave, force fields are ran. Astrea's holding. Kind of. Still bleeding out workers, still up against the wall. More Zealots have arrived. Astrea attempting a surround. But he does come in a little bit disjointed. And not the best setup. Does take down the Widowmine at least. But another brutal EMP. And ByuN, from here he can just stim and win. GG gets called. It's just too much. And ByuN takes a lead in the series. GG. GG, well played. Again, in the lead up to the eventual move out, Astrea, if you remember, he was trying to slow down the army, but something that was brutal was that Astrea, he kept bleeding out Stalkers. That should not have been happening. He lost, what, like 3, 4, 5 Stalkers in the process. Did mean that he had that much left to hold on to survive. Did get his 3rd up and running, but the 3rd didn't matter when his opponent had a 3rd base that was also a gold. So ByuN just snowballed out of control with that gold base. GG, well played. And with that, ByuN needs one more to win it all. To become this week's champion, Astrea has to fight back here and now to force the ace match. And I want to believe we can have an ace match regardless of how this goes. I would love to see a game 5, but the pressure is now on Astrea. Pressure is on. I see Lunacy in the chat. Please be nice to the Stalker. Oh no. Not like this. Is it even legit in any universe to 1-base all-in in such a map? There are 1-base all-ins that we have seen, but it's very niche. It's very, very niche. We've seen players like Oliveira and Gumiho. Sorry, not Gumiho. Oliveira and Ryung. That's it. We've seen Oliveira and Ryung go for 1-base all-ins, specifically on Ghost River. On Ghost River, they have attempted that with some mixed success as well. Yeah, a smaller map like Ghost River, which doesn't have like an in-base natural as well, is kind of what you can go for on that map. Still, though, you rarely see that sort of thing. It's still a rare sight, but here we go. We are getting into our next game. Potentially the final game of the series, as spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the South Korean Terran player for Shopify leading the series 2-1. Onomas, one more is all he needs. It is ByuN. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the American Protoss player, the red Protoss representing himself, currently teamless, but deserving to be on the team down in this series. And needs your support in the chat to bring it back to the ace match. Can we go all the way to game 5? It is Astrea. Bring us to the ace match. Hello, ByuN. As here in game 4, ByuN is looking to spice things up with a proxy. The SCV has been sent out, is hidden here on the right hand side, and the Rex has been placed. It's going to be a 2-Rex opener here. We have one back at home and one across the map. So it looks like 2-Rex Reaper from the side of ByuN. Oh boy. I'm assuming 2-Rex Reaper. The other possibility is that he could try to morph in a Tech Lab and go Marauder. But it's difficult to scout because it looks normal. If you can see here, ByuN, he has a Rex back at home, so Astrea, everything looks normal, everything looks as it should. Single gas opener into what should be a CC. And Astrea, he has to stick around to get an eye on that would-be command center. Yeah, it's going to be Marine opener, which means this should be a Tech Lab into Marauder? Question mark? Show us the Marauders. Yeah, there it is. Tech Lab is on the way. It's going to be Proxy Marauder out of ByuN. Marine is revealed. A probe gets zoned away, and that means that Astrea is in the dark. Oh boy. So Astrea doesn't really know what's going on. He hasn't been able to scout. He hasn't been able to confirm. He is opening up Stalker, as he did previously. And the Marauder count is building up. Here we go. We'll see if ByuN can pull this off. Now, if Astrea moves out with this Stalker, that could just be game then and there. Like, he has to be very careful with his first handful of units. If he gets caught out, if he loses the first Stalker prematurely, then, I mean, we have limited production. You know, Astrea, he can only make one. No shot. Is he taking a third? Okay, okay. He's gonna have the money for it. No, he's crazy. No, Astrea, he's rushing into. This is an insanely fast third base. Astrea being so greedy. He's moving out with a Stalker, and that means there's only one gate. There's only one gateway, only one unit to defend, and is that game? I think it is. Oh no, I think that's just game. The Marauders have arrived. The Sentry's gonna be going down. Astrea caught with his pants down. Not like this. He misread the game. GG gets called, and ByuN will take the series 3-1. GG. Just a build order win for ByuN. So basically, winding it back a little bit. So if you remember, Astrea, based on his probe scout, he had seen enough to believe that it was a Rax expand. Remember, he saw one Rax, he saw one Gas Geyser, so in Astrea's mind, standard economic opener. And to approach that, Astrea, he went as greedy as possible. I should also emphasize, Astrea's build there in that final game is very unorthodox. You almost never see that, but Astrea, he was just trying to outgreed his opponent. So he went third Nexus before second Gateway, before anything else. And ByuN happened to be going for a proxy. He happened to be going for a proxy Marauder. GG, well played. Build order win there for ByuN, and just unfortunate misread out of Astrea. I say misread, I mean, he didn't really have much to go off of, so just unfortunate there for Astrea, very unlucky to go for that build at that time. GG, well played. ByuN will take it and will be this week's PiGosaur champion. Congratulations. GG. GG, well played. Then proxy openings. I mean, it was the proxy, but also coinciding with Astrea being as greedy as you could be. Like, that was, like, you don't get much greedier than that. Like, that was wild what Astrea was going for. So the punish was real. That's also why you rarely get, like, build order wins in SE2 nowadays. Like, the stars have to align, where a player's cheesing and the other player's being hyper greedy. And that's kind of what we saw here. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to ByuN. He is going to be this week's champion. I was hoping for an ace match, and I feel like we were a little bit robbed here in the final game. Not really how I wanted the series to end, but regardless, congratulations to ByuN. He gets his revenge. Again, he has been enlightened from his journey out in the mountains. He has returned to us as a different man, as a different Terran, and it does take the win. GG, very well played. very well played. Once again, big shout out to both Pig and Stegosaurus. Pig did recently decide to start sponsoring this event. This was the Stego Monday Cup, but now it is the PiGosaur Cup. What will the mascot change to? That's the most important question. Stegosaurus, I don't know if you're in the chat right now, but for the Orsosaurus Cup, we had like the hairy dinosaur, then we just had the Stegosaurus, but now, what does a PiGosaur look like? What does like a Jurassic period pig, what does that entail? That's the question. That's the new logo. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, pal. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm sure they'll be getting on that at some point. Kappa. And, yeah, so big shout out to Pig, big shout out to Stegosaurus for hosting and for sponsoring the event. Shout out to Stegosaurus for managing and, like, adminning and bringing it all together. Big shout out to Stegosaurus. And, literally, with that, we are wrapping up for the day. Wrapping up for the day, we don't have another cast tonight. Our next broadcast is going to be in less than 24 hours. Tomorrow, we're going to be casting the Code for Giants Cup. For those that are maybe tuning in for the first time, shout out to ByuN for the raid. There was a big raid that we got earlier, so big shout out to ByuN. But we do cast here on almost a daily basis. I say almost. Usually we cast every day, multiple times a day, but now we're in the off season. We're in the off season of EPT, so, you know, there's no WTL, there's no Kung Fu Cup, there's, in a way, less tournaments than we usually cast, so because of that, we're live a little bit less often. We're still live, what, like 5 days a week instead of 7? That's still not bad, And our next cast is going to be tomorrow. Code for Giants Cup. If you're curious, what is Code for Giants Cup? It is a Brazilian-only SE2 tournament. So we feature players like Eric, like Inexorable, like Master, Shakti, Dorminoko, Yen, and many other players. So if you're interested in some Brazilian StarCraft, we got you covered tomorrow. Otherwise, the day after that is going to be the Tenacious Turtle Tussle. You may be curious, we usually host the Turtle Tussle on Mondays. But we have since moved it over to Thursday instead, just to make the kind of Sunday-Monday period a little bit less congested. Like, we had some crazy casting marathons, like covering like 4 events back to back. So we are going to be spreading it out a little bit, and the Turtle Tussle will be Thursday morning instead. So around the same time as this tournament, but on Thursday, or I guess on Wednesday if you're in the Americas. Thursday morning for us. Just as a heads up. Also on Thursday is going to be the podcast. Something that we have not done yet here on the Cranky Ducklings is go over the patch and go over the new map pool. So that is something that we will be having over during the podcast. If you're curious, what is the podcast? That is our weekly StarCraft 2 talk show. We go over the week's tournaments, the week's results, and any other news as well, like roster changes, like new news, of course, in the scene. And of course, this week, the big news is the new patch and the new map pool. So we'll be going over that during the podcast on Thursday. We at least have a couple of days to ruminate. I'm really curious about the map pool. I do want to like go in game and actually study them and have a look at them and figure out what's going on. There is a lot of controversy surrounding the map pool as well. For those who do not know, the map makers recently kind of spoke out about it. So what happened was ESL, they go to the map makers, I guess the top map makers of TLMC. There is a map maker Discord, and they asked them to rate the maps on kind of preference on which ones they would like to see in the map pool, which ones are the most balanced, which ones would be, you know, most interesting. I'm sure they have their own criteria for rating them. They of course were submitted, they were handed off to ESL, and the current map pool that was decided on was actually not based on those recommendations. So the map makers, they came out, they were like, what the hell? Like, why did you ask us for our opinion if you ignored it? So that's kind of what's happening at the moment. So the map makers, they have not they're not aligned with the choices made by ESL when it comes to the maps that were chosen. And so I'm kind of curious myself to look into them and to have a look at what's going on there. At a glance, it does seem like a lot of them look quite similar to each other. They are quite reminiscent of even some maps we have currently in the map pool, specifically Ghost River. But I'd like to delve into them a little bit more, and we'll do so leading into the podcast so we can talk about it. So yeah, it's gonna be the plan. It's gonna be a plan on Thursday. Friday we do have off. Saturday I think we have off, kind of. StarCraft Evolution League is gonna be on Saturday. We have STC on Sunday, and we have OSC King of the Hill on Sunday as well. So plenty of content to come. If you enjoy the casting, if you enjoy the content, then you can of course follow us on all the social medias. We're live, we're also live on YouTube, we're live on Twitch, we're live on YouTube. We do post VODs on a daily basis on YouTube as well, so plenty of content. We have thousands of VODs on YouTube as we've been casting on a daily basis since like 2019. It's a lot of content, a lot of casting, a lot of StarCraft. So if you're interested, you can follow us there. Otherwise, if you want to help support the Cranky Ducklings, you can do so via Patreon. !Patreon in the chat. You can help fund and help support our weekly tournaments. Events like Sparkling Tunic Cup, Sea Duckling Open, and Master Sword Open. The events are all funded via Patreon. So a shout out to all the patrons that we do have currently. You can see our goal underneath Astrea's name as currently how much we make a month via Patreon, and our next goal as well to grow the prize pool and boost our events. So if you're interested, if you want to support StarCraft, you can do so via Patreon. Otherwise, following us is all that we ask. And enjoy the casting. Enjoy. Just catching up. Hyper... God damn it. Hyper One just redeemed a replay cast. Hyper One. Ay. Calm down, Bobby. Calm down. Next stream. We'll get on some Hyper One replays. Oh no. Hold on, I'll DM Hyper One. SMH. But yeah, with that, thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for tuning in. We do appreciate the support here. And again, follow us if you're interested. If you enjoy the content, do hit that follow button. Otherwise, now would be a good time to sleep. I did not sleep much at all today, but at the same time, we could ladder a little bit. We could have a cheeky ladder session. So if you're interested, I'm going to be going live on my personal channel, light_VIP. I'm going to be laddering at least for a couple of hours. Again, we don't really have... I have a really hard time finding time to ladder just because we're casting so much. But I should have some time today. So we can ladder for a couple of hours. We can smudge. I'll be honest, I am pretty tired. I'm not all there, so I don't expect too much green on that in that ladder session, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Aye. We'll do our best. So yeah, with that, thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. I'm gonna be heading off. Gonna be streaming for a couple of hours. If you're interested, you can follow us. Otherwise, thank you. Thank you for the support. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow for Code for Giants Cup. Until then, thanks for watching. Hasta luego. Ciao. Bye. Ciao. Hasta luego.